Well, Kenny, as a kid, me and my brothers, we watched professional wrestling growing up. We watched all the different companies, anywhere from back in old WWF days, WCW, Attitude Era. We grew up watching that, and I told myself that's something I can do. I knew I had the athletic ability to do it. Going through high school, I used to play baseball all the way through. Weightlifting is going through high school, so I've always had like an athletic theme in mind that I wanted to do, and pro wrestling was just that. I seen it, I knew I could do it. I just knew I had to work towards it, and I'm still training to this day. So I haven't. I know I'm not where I need to be, but I'm still working at it. You got to be humble in the business.
That's
So
a
that's pretty much, yeah.
that's a very valid point that you pointed out. You have to be humble um, to be in the position that you're in, considering that a sport that is professional wrestling, whether it's the indies or whether it's the pros, it's not for everybody. Don't matter if, especially if you are a in-wing competitor that is willing to put their bodies on the line.
Oh, definitely,
And
definitely. Like, yeah, going through training, I've seen people come and go that thought they can handle it, and that just goes to show pro wrestling is not for just any Joe that comes up off the street and thinks they can do it. It's a discipline, it's art, it's just like you got Taekwondo and karate. It's a discipline. It's something that it's a respect, it's a brotherhood. Yeah, all those things.
so, Lance, you remember your first ever wrestling match that you ever had? And if so, who was your opponent and what company did you work for?
Well, that's not too far away because I'm only about 30-something matches in, but I go back and then take a look, and in BCW, I'm teaming with JB Moonshine, and we're the Moonshiners. But back before the Moonshiners, there was just me, Loverboy Lance Dean. I ended up having my first match with teamed up with JB Moonshine, and we took on Sideshow and Meat. I don't know if you're familiar with Meat. You ever heard of him?
No, I have not.
Oh, we should look it up. Uh, it was my first tag match. I was nervous as can be, man. I was pacing around in the back. I couldn't stand still. I still get that same thing going through the curtain. You gotta wind down. You gotta get your mind right. The type of moves you're doing out there. If you're not careful, you can break your own neck. Um, but I remember that tag match, and I remember Sideshow and Meat continuously cutting me off where I can't tag in my partner. I was learning a very valuable lesson that you got to have a lot of faith in your tag partner. Uh, he ended up walking out on me that night. He ended up walking out on me, and then the finish of the match is I got smashed in the corner about 5 times by this move called the Meat Express. Meat bends you over in the corner, and then he runs from one side of the ring all the way to the next and smashes you basically ass to butt. And yeah, of course, Meat thinks it's very funny. It's very comical of him to. They were working on my nutsack during the match. The tactics, Meat's tactics, man. He likes to gouge. He likes to bite. He likes to claw. He likes to do whatever he can. A lot of choking, man. I was trying to scramble back to my corner and get a tag in here and there. Towards the end of the match, JB left me, man. He walked back to the locker room. But since then, I look back and I realize, I've learned a lot since then. And part of me understands JB walking away that night, believe it or not. So that was my very first match. Ended up losing to a move called the pie face. Sideshow locks Sideshow locks the arms behind your back. It's kind of like a pedigree, but he brings you up a little bit higher than a pedigree, and then you get dropped down face first, straight into the mat. And then 3 count over that, it's pretty much done deal. So that was my first match. It was a tag match.
Wow, you definitely learned a valuable thing there. And to quote Stone Cold Steve Austin, a catchphrase he loves to say, "Don't trust anybody." You learn from then on. It's hard to trust people in these business, especially your quote unquote tag team partners. And
Yeah.
But you're 8 months in, you have come a long way. How would you feel about your progression as a wrestler 8 months in? You feel like you're on the right track? You feel like there's a lot more to work on? Like, how would you feel about your progression as a wrestler right now, 8 months in?
Well, I feel that I've been getting booked in other promotions. Starting out my first couple months, it was just strictly BCW, but now I'm going to Power Pit Pro Wrestling, SCW. I've been up there a few times now. Ron actually booked me for a cruiserweight match. I don't know if you were there for that last show there at SCW, but we had a 4-way cruiserweight match with me, Avarice, Petrov, and Paul Preston. So coming up this next week, not this weekend, but the weekend after, SCW, of course, we're having a 15-minute scramble for the cruiserweight title. The way that works is the wrestler that has the last pinfall or the last submission within that 15 minutes will be the new SCW cruiserweight champion. So I think from, going to getting booked for title matches, being even considered coming that far, I come all the way from Portland, Oregon, and to come all that way, that is saying something that, Ron has enough faith in me that he knows my competitive side, and I'm going to be able to match up against guys like Paul Preston, guys that have been in the business longer, people like Avarice, who's been in a little bit longer than me, and face guys that fight tooth and nail like Gregor Petrov. I mean, some of his matches, he's really he's had outside hardcore matches, street fights. He's pretty brutal, The guy's a stiff hitter. But yeah, going from tag teaming in BCW, and when I first started out, I probably lost about my first 10 matches. Honestly, I couldn't. My buddies, they'd ask me, we'd go out to the bar and have a drink. Did you win? You win last night? No, can't say that I did. But yeah, learning from my mistakes as well. You got to know, kind of like in UFC, you got to know when to use the right move at the right time and when to use it, because easily it can be reversed on you by a veteran. Veterans know their stuff. They've been around for a while. They know how to reverse a lot of these power moves, and you got to know when to use power moves, when to use a submission, when to rely on your striking. So I'm trying to learn that. I'm trying to put it all together. I'm trying to learn some new move sets, learning from guys, watching tapes on guys like Bret Hart, and just trying to learn from that.
Well, it's good
So
to
I think
hear.
I think I've come a ways, a little bit of a ways, but I still got a long ways to go.
Well, it's good to hear that things are looking pretty good thus far. Obviously, you had your ups and downs. It does come with the territory, but you definitely have learned a lot for the last 8 months, and all you can do is keep getting better, and continue to evolve, as a character and as an in-ring competitor.
Exactly.
And
One of the best people I could say that I see that evolved is Sting. If we look at Sting from when when he started out as the blonde Sting, from Venice Beach, and now he's evolved into this, menacing guy that's facing Triple H here at WrestleMania. So when you say evolved, it just makes me think of people like Sting. So I got you there.
Oh, definitely Sting, a guy who's definitely evolved as well, going from the bleached blonde hair to the current character that he's in. And I mean, what makes Sting appealing is that he didn't have to say a word. He didn't have to get on the microphone, wamble on, and the audience is going to react.
Hmm.
That's how much of a impact that a guy can have without saying a word. Not everybody can pull it off, but that character has worked for him through it. That's why he's been labeled as the franchise of WCW. He was the face of that organization despite the NWOs and Eric Bischoff and certain people won that company to the ground. And people credit Sting, despite WCW being a sinking ship, he could have easily went with WWE before um, WCW went down, but he stood by them until the bitter end. And now 14 years later, after WCW went out of business, here he is. I never thought he would be in the WWE. He's made it clear he didn't want to be work with Vince. He didn't want to be in the WWE. Period. But I guess he is where he is now. So I will say this: the Sting and Triple H match. I think that's the match I'm looking forward to seeing the most. As far as the card as it is right now. Like, I'm curious to see if Sting has one more good match left in him. Because you're going up against Triple H, who's always in the gym, getting in shape. And for a guy in his 40s to still to look the condition that he is, this guy look like he could still be a full-time wrestler if he wanted to, but he's not a COO. He can't do both. So, but I'm looking forward to Sting and Triple H at WrestleMania, and I'm just happy to see Sting. Period. I'm just shocked that he's affiliated with WWE, not as a full time commitment, but just there. You know, I'm shocked. I will say that for sure.
So if you had to pick, who would you pick, Sting or Triple H to win this one?
I guess because it's Sting's WWE in-ring debut, I'm gonna go with Sting. Um, I guess that Triple H will make it competitive, but I think Sting's gonna pull away down the stretch, and he's gonna. I think he's gonna get it with the death drop and pick up the victory. I don't see this being a submission. I just see it just being a death drop and then game over, as he said in that promo. uh, so yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Sting winning that match.
Right. I don't know if he can hook on that Scorpion Deathlock though. He better hook it on in the middle of the ring though, because Triple H has got some massive body strength, and I'm pretty sure if he's not too down and out, he might be able to crawl and get to that bottom strand rope. But if I got to choose, I think I'm going to go with Triple H, because he definitely pulls out all the stops. Who knows? He might pull a sledgehammer out from under the ring. Um, he's got massive upper body strength. I think his upper body strength, you can agree with me, he's got a better upper body strength than Sting. And then he's got a move similar to what I like, man. I've been doing this. I've been doing the double arm DDT is what I've been using for my finish whenever I hook on a finish with someone. But I like that pedigree, man. Once he wraps that in with those arms, it could be lights out for Sting, quite possibly.
I
So I'm
will
gonna have to go with Triple H on this one.
I will say that you're right as far as the strength. That advantage goes to Triple H without question, and it goes back to what I was saying. Him being in the gym, being in good condition that he is. Um,
Yeah,
I, I just think Sting has a trick up his sleeve like he always does, and I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm very excited about WrestleMania.
I like I really like the high knee, the Harley Race high knee. I've been using that
Yeah,
myself. Uh, you see where he catches a guy with a high knee.
yeah, yes.
As soon as I catch somebody with that high knee, I'm going right for a pin. Uh, but Triple H, he's able to catch someone with that high knee and inflict some more damage, and then make a lot more cleaner pin. But I really respect that knee, though. I'm telling you, you can do a lot of damage with the knees and elbows with somebody.
Well, definitely
So,
I'm looking forward to that match, and quite honestly, I'm looking forward to the entire card. It looks promising. I will say that. Um, some matches I'm looking forward to more than others, but as far as pay, the event collectively, it looks promising. So before I let you
what do
go,
you? Yeah, I was going to ask you what you thought about Brock Lesnar. I was hearing him. He was talking about um, keeping the WWE title and going back to the UFC and winning the UFC title. Did you hear anything about that?
uh, I've I've heard about the UFC rumors, especially. It's easy to speculate where he did appear in the UFC event with Ronda Rousey fight, and he did. There was a picture of him talking to Dana White, and it's easy to speculate that maybe he has the itch of coming back, which would indicate he's going to lose the title to Roman Reigns, and that maybe that he will consider going back to UFC. That remains to be seen. I say, um, if that's what he wants to do, then I guess more power to him. Um, I guess my main issue with Brock Lesnar is that how can you call yourself a champion when you've only defended the championship twice since winning it at SummerSlam August of last year? Um, that's that's not how you should be a champion by any means. And Lord forbid, I get it. You're not gonna be on wall every week or whatever. But then again, it's not like he got nothing else to do. He ain't got no movies to film like The Rock does. He ain't got no other endeavors to do like some of the other wrestlers. You're a champion. You're supposed to show up every week.
Right.
That's how I feel from a fan's perspective. So
Well, I think Brock Lesnar's trying to show a different side, not show the old school side of things like we're used to around the Northwest. We're used to those kind of things. The champion defends his belt almost every show, every week. I think Brock Lesnar. I think he wants to be that. I think he wants to unify being the UFC champion and the WWE champion at the same time. If he can, if he can take his contract and sort of mold it into what he wants, he might be able to do that. He might be able to pull it off. Could you
well,
imagine that being a first?
Vince McMahon and Dana White would have to have very
They're
deep.
very good friends too. Vince
Yeah,
and Dana, from what I hear, they're very good friends.
they will have to have a very long conversation about that if that were to ever happen. For sure. I will point this out. Dana White, when I think the WWE 2K12 or 2K13 video game came out,
Hmm.
and Brock Lesnar was available as a character on the game, and he was under contract with UFC at the time, and Dana White had no issue with that. Dana White said at the time he's not going to let Brock Lesnar be near a WWE ring while he's under contract with UFC. And I wonder if he still has that stance now. But that's just something to bring up, just in case. Um, well, Lance, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. But thank you so much for being on the show. Best of success goes out to you, man. Again, thank you for being on.
Yeah, invite me back anytime, Kenny. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. You have a good night.
You too.
All right,
Good
bye
night.
bye. That was Lance Dean joining me here on Triple Threat Wrestling.